If you have found yourself asking, what is happening to me? What is happening to my life? You are not alone. Maybe you're feeling disconnected, disoriented, like something broke open in your life, or maybe things are really falling apart in your life. This video is not a step-by-step guide on how to do spiritual awakening right. It's a gentle and honest conversation about a topic that is very trendy right now, but is so much more than just a trend. So let's get into it. Let's have a chit chat. So spiritual awakening is not something that can be neatly divided into 5 steps or 6 steps. It is not a trend. It is not a formula. It's not something to do right. It's not something you can hack. Although I do love a practical hack, okay? I'm a practical girly. But in spiritual awakenings, oftentimes practicality goes out the window. Okay? Spiritual awakenings are messy, weird, deeply personal, unexpected, and they often start in the middle of chaos. So what is spiritual awakening? There's so many ways to define it. My definition is that spiritual awakening is a series of wake-up calls that you cannot ignore. The universe, in one way or another, is like, hey, you need to change how you're approaching your life right now, and here's some clarity for you that you probably didn't ask for. Maybe you asked for it, but you probably didn't ask for it, and now you can't unsee it. So here you go. No more ignorant bliss for you, boo. No more ignorant bliss. So it often begins with a breakdown, a loss, something that shakes you to your core. Once it starts, you can't go back to sleep, babe, even if you want to. I'm sorry. So some common experiences during spiritual awakening are feeling like your life no longer fits you, increased sensitivity to emotions, light, sound, people's energy, intense waves of emotion, craving solitude and deep reflection, questioning what you were taught. Maybe it's belief systems, religion, ideology, synchronicities happening, which can show up in a lot of different ways, like angel numbers, signs, dreams can be synchronous, or coincidences that just keep happening, that you start asking yourself, could this really be a coincidence if it's happening as many times as it's happening? Feeling like you're connecting to something ancient. Some people also feel connection to their ancestors. So these are just some examples. Not everyone feels all of these. It's different for everybody. So one example of this from my life was I did a yoga flow out in a park. And at the end of my yoga practice, I laid down on my back in what's called shavasana, or corpse pose. I was feeling really good. My energy was flowing because I'd just done this yoga practice, and suddenly something happened to me that had never happened before. I felt this rush of like golden champagne bubbles is the best way I can describe it, coming up from the base of my spine all the way up through the center of my body and out through the top of my head. Now I know that it was through my chakras. Back then I didn't know what the hell was going on. And it was a physical sensation, but I could tell that it was energy. I could tell that I was sensing something that I couldn't sense with just my 5 senses. And I had never had an experience like that before. Another example is I was doing this really cool guided meditation that I found in this book. What was it called? Oh, I have it right here actually. Perfect. It was in this book, Playing Big by Tara Mohr. Doesn't look that spiritual, but she has this really cool guided meditation where you meet your future self. I'm being naughty today and having coffee after 5. But look how cute this mug is. This is my favorite mug. Anyways, so I was doing this guided meditation where I met my future self. And you can find these on YouTube. There's all kinds of different guided meditations like this. I met my future self and she dropped some knowledge on me. She was like, "You're a witch." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "You're a witch." At the time, I didn't believe in witchcraft. I didn't believe in anything like that. So I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, I had always loved Harry Potter. I had always loved reading books about fantasy and about magic, but I was like, oh, this is clearly like, obviously it's fantasy. But she told me, and I couldn't unhear that. And just to clarify, I'm not Wiccan. Being a witch and being Wiccan are different thing. Wicca is a religion. I do not ascribe to any religions. I'm just a spiritual girl. But anyways, so you might be wondering, how do I know that this is not just a breakdown that I'm experiencing, especially if you're going through a tumultuous moment in your spiritual awakening? What I have to say to that is oftentimes breakdowns come before the breakthroughs. What spiritual awakenings can do is show you, sometimes force you into seeing some parts of your life don't actually fit the expansiveness of who you are. Like oftentimes we shrink ourselves into jobs or into relationships, different life situations that don't honor the fullness of what we have to offer. And if we don't change that ourselves, sometimes the universe will be like, come in with a wrecking ball and shatter it. Which is not a cute sensation. It's not fun. But if you're clinging to a job that you hate, then you don't have space in your life to invite in a job that brings you purpose and joy. If you're spending all your time with people who drain you, people who mistreat you, then you don't have space in your calendar for people who will respect you and bring you joy. I want to talk a little bit about integration too, because I feel like this doesn't get addressed enough. So integration, I would say, is the journey between clarity and embodiment, actually living out what this moment of clarity means for you. Sometimes we are given these flashes of truth, and then what? Our life doesn't suddenly just change for the better. It takes time and courage to shift how we live. Sometimes it means letting go of old habits. Sometimes it means showing up differently in our relationships, or letting go of relationships that don't serve us anymore. Sometimes it's building new habits, which can definitely take time, or speaking truths that we've been holding inside of us for a while. Integration is awkward, it is messy, and this time is sacred, and it's where the transformation really happens. You might be wondering, how long does spiritual awakening actually last? It's different for everybody. Everyone's spiritual path is unique. But if you're open to continuing the awakening process, it's like a spiral that you just go deeper and deeper into yourself and into your truth and into the lessons that you're here to learn. So there's no finish line. It's kind of like peeling off the layers of an onion, but you're a cute onion and you don't smell. So oftentimes it's coming back to the same truth deeper and deeper every time. So one example that I think a lot of you might relate to is people pleasing. I realized maybe like 10 years ago that I was people pleasing way too much. The first thing that I did to shift it was notice like some really obviously toxic people in my life who were really obviously draining my energy. So I started distancing myself from them. And then eventually I got more clarity on how I was people pleasing in more subtle ways. As I went deeper into the lesson, I saw how sometimes I was having longer conversations than I really needed to with people who weren't being mean. They weren't showing up in an obviously toxic way, but for whatever reason, I didn't really want to be talking to that person for as long as I was. So I realized I was doing this, and then I started practicing shifting, okay, respectfully remove myself so I'm not wasting energy in an interaction that actually doesn't serve me. And I'm at the point where I see somebody like that coming before we even start our conversation. And sometimes I will just move around them so we don't even start the conversation in the first place. Or if we do talk, I will just respectfully bow out of there quickly. Because I don't owe anybody my energy. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but you do not owe them your energy. So what should you do during a spiritual awakening? First of all, you do not have to do anything. I love this song by Noah Cyrus called Stand Still. One of the lyrics is, my father told me, Noah, if you don't know where you're going, just stand still. Soon enough you will. It's so simple and profound. If you don't know which direction to go, you don't have to make any moves. Clarity on the next move sometimes doesn't come when we want it, but when you're actually ready for the clarity to come through. Sometimes the universe is working on bringing blessings to you that you can't even fathom right now. Looking back, you'll be like, oh, that timing totally made sense. And I know you're busy, especially the parents out there, especially the people working multiple jobs. I'm not saying it's easy to not do anything, but don't underestimate the power of carving out 5 minutes for yourself to do nothing, or to do whatever it is that you desire to do. Our desires are something to tune into, which can lead us to what we really need. Just listen to yourself, slow down, take a moment. Carve out 5 minutes for yourself if that's all you have. Carve out more if you can, and do whatever you feel like you need to do. Maybe it's take a nap. Maybe it's take a walk. Maybe it's cry. Maybe it's scream into your pillow. Maybe it's put on your favorite upbeat music and dance around your house. Maybe it's put on your favorite death metal and scream. Maybe it's hugging a tree. Maybe it's making art. Even if you feel lost right now, I just want to tell you that you are exactly where you need to be. You are not crazy. You're waking up. And you are not behind. You are right on time. Just take it one day at a time, love. I am sending you all of my love, and I will see you in the next video.